The Northeast Corridor is the busiest railway line in the United States, carrying 800,000 passengers and goods to and from some of the most important locations in the country. It's crucial to those who have to commute to New York, and on this line lies the busiest station of the USA, the Penn Station. The corridor, owned primarily by Amtrak, closely parallels Interstate 95 for most of its length, carrying more than 2,200 trains a day. What we call the Northeast Corridor was built piece by piece from as early as the 1830s. Originally, the two lines that form the corridor were individual and disconnected, but in the time period of 1903 to 1917, the two different railroads owned by Pennsylvania Railroad and New Haven Railroad were connected through a series of projects. The lines were joined together, forming what we know today as the Northeast Corridor. Because these lines are so old, their infrastructure no longer adequately supports the demands of the people that use the train, and they don't carry as many people and goods as they should be able to, specifically in New York. Moreover, the corridor has undergone its own fair share of troubles. The infamous Hurricane Sandy had a part to play. It killed 233 people in 8 countries, from the Caribbean to Canada. The hurricane inflicted $70 billion in damages in the US, which is a little more than $90 billion today after adjusting for inflation. The Northeast Corridor couldn't escape the aftermath of the hurricane either. Due to the salty and corrosive water that leaked into the tunnels as a consequence of the hurricane, a lot of the equipment that functioned on electricity was damaged. The Northeast Railway Corridor was immobilized, and New York City Transit took the biggest blow. The city's subway infrastructure sustained more than $4.5 billion in damages from a storm surge that attacked some parts of the system more than others. 9 of New York City Transit's 14 tunnels were flooded. Through some miracle, they got the system back up and running in 3 days, but the subway was damaged, and it could be a long time before it would return to normal condition. The damage sustained by the New York City Transit and the growing demands for a subway system with more capacity went unmet because of the outdated infrastructure. To improve the volume of transportation meant to tear down and replace some of the old setup. In fact, the tunnel linking New York and New Jersey is over 100 years old, and there's a lot of inbound and outbound railway congestion in New York, which to some degree is because of it. All this made way for the $16 billion Gateway Tunnel project. The project seeks to ease congestion under the Hudson River by adding a new tunnel and making upgrades to the more than a century-old existing channel. Both NJ Transit and Amtrak trains have to pass through a single tunnel to enter Manhattan, and if anything were to happen to that tunnel, the rails would be immobilized. The Gateway plan will alleviate this undue stress on the century-old tunnel. This project has been delayed from as early as the 2010s due to a change in presidential terms and issues with costs, among others. The plan will involve the setup of a new tunnel under the Hudson River and fix the already damaged tunnel that faced its unfortunate fate back during Hurricane Sandy. Why is the project so expensive? One of the reasons is the Hudson River section of the project. Building a tunnel under a river is hard work by itself, but building that same tunnel amidst the busy and urban New York City becomes an even harder task. This is a feat of engineering that is inherently complex and costly. The geology surrounding the river makes it even harder to construct the tunnel. The presence of loose alluvial deposits like sand, gravel, silt, and clay makes the ground unstable and difficult to excavate without huge shifts or collapses of the soil. And as this tunnel will lie under a river, the nearby groundwater levels are also bound to be high. This means constantly having to act out measures to prevent flooding or leaking within the tunnel, even during construction. The art of tunneling through soft ground is also complex. Ground freezing is one of the tactics that is used to stabilize and solidify unstable ground temporarily. In this method, pipes are run through the soil to be frozen, and then refrigerants are run through the pipes, freezing the soil. Frozen soil can be as hard as concrete. Another solution to the loose soil problem would be to use a tunnel boring machine which is designed for this type of soil. Precaution would also have to be maintained while tunneling in urban areas, as navigating below and around existing buildings becomes crucial. How the tunnel affects surrounding topography is also an important question, as shifts in the soil can lead to ground subsidence, the consequences of which, in a city like New York, can be catastrophic. And perhaps one of the most unnecessary cost inflators in the project are economic and political factors. The project counts on a combination of federal, state, and private funding. Securing these funds and coordinating for adequate procurement is bound to have additional overhead costs. Changes in administration or policies can also affect costs, including the need to secure bipartisan support. The new installations are being engineered to be more resilient against environmental tragedies, keeping in mind what happened with Hurricane Sandy in 2012. The project also has ample provisions to ensure that the environment and ecosystem is not significantly altered. This includes minimizing disruptions to the riverbed and facilitating appropriate and safe disposal of excavated material. Interestingly, the Gateway project is a collaborative effort between multiple states, of which New York and New Jersey are a part. Federal agencies and Amtrak are also involved, and it's one of the most expensive infrastructure projects in the United States. The new tunnels and fresh infrastructure will significantly increase the capacity of the Northeast Corridor, with lower congestion rates and a higher volume of transportation. The project will also have a positive economic impact over time. The presently limited and battered New York City Transit will provide a lot of jobs during construction and assist the free transfer of commerce and people throughout the nation after its completion. The Gateway project is a collection of different projects. Construction of a 2-track tunnel below the Hudson River, along with a preservation section below Hudson Yard, are part of the Hudson River project. The Portal North Bridge project will replace the outdated and unreliable Portal Bridge with a 2-track elevated Portal North Bridge. This is important because the Portal Bridge carries 450 Amtrak and NJ Transit trains per day. These trains are often delayed at the Portal Bridge, as the aging mechanical and electrical components sometimes malfunction while opening and closing, causing a cascade of delays. There are also other bridge replacements or rehabilitations to be done, which are essential for the same reason as the Portal North Bridge replacement, because of their inefficiency and malfunctions. These are the Sawtooth Bridges replacement, Dock Bridge rehabilitation, Portal South Bridge construction, and the Secaucus capacity expansion projects. And to accommodate for all the additional traffic and volume of transport, in terms of both people and goods, the busiest station of the US, Penn Station, will be expanded. The expansion of Penn Station will also remove a major bottleneck along the Northeast Corridor, which will result in improved services and volume. The Gateway project is an urgent and important step towards relieving the currently stressed state of the New York Transit, and it's also a transition into the next phase of infrastructural development for the US, a precursor to a lot more that is yet to come.